That's how long the convoy of storm chasers had lived on the razor's edge. 10 days of sleepless nights, endless highways, broken meals eaten behind the wheel, and skies that could turn from blue to black in a heartbeat. They had seen everything. Towering haboobs swallowing the horizon, supercells sculpting the heavens into twisted cathedrals, tornadoes stretching from delicate ropes to monstrous wedges wider than towns. They had stood within earshot of a storm that sounded like the earth itself was tearing apart. And they had walked through ruins where silence screamed louder than thunder. For storm chasers, it was the perfect paradox, equal parts triumph and heartbreak. The thrill of the hunt. On April 12th, Iowa gave them one of the closest intercepts of their careers. The wedge tornado, a monstrous wall of wind and debris, had loomed less than a mile from their convoy. Cameras captured every second, the footage destined for documentaries and research archives. It was the kind of shot that chasers dream of, the kind that justifies the miles, the risks, the sacrifices. And yet, the closer the lens got to the storm, the clearer the danger became. One wrong move, one unpredictable shift, and the chase could have ended not in triumph, but in tragedy. That tension, the thin line between exhilaration and annihilation, was what made the chase both addictive and terrifying. The price of the storms, but every storm leaves scars. Greenfield was reduced to rubble, homes and memories scattered like confetti across the fields. In Claremore, Oklahoma, the devastation was even worse. Families displaced, businesses gone, neighborhoods erased in minutes. For the chasers, these sights cut deeper than the adrenaline rush ever could. They had documented the power of nature, but standing among the wreckage, the reality was inescapable. Every funnel cloud, every wedge, every EF3 or EF4 meant human suffering. The thrill of the chase was always shadowed by the sobering cost. Lessons learned. As the convoy drove home, silence filled the vehicles. The endless talk of radar signatures and intercept strategies was replaced by quiet reflection. They replayed every decision, the near misses, the perfect positions, the moments they nearly lost it all. One thing became clear: storm chasing is not about control, it's about humility. You don't conquer the storm, you don't tame it, you bear witness, you document. And you hope somehow that your footage, your data, your presence in the storm's path can one day help save lives. The haunting truth. For 10 days, the chasers had stared into nature's darkest heart, and in return, the storms had left them with a truth they could never shake. No matter how skilled, how prepared, or how determined you are, the storm always has the final say. Some days, it gives you glory. Other days, it gives you ruins. And sometimes, it nearly takes you with it. As they parted ways, each chaser carried not just hard drives full of footage and memories of adrenaline-soaked intercepts, but the echo of sirens, the sight of broken towns, and the haunting knowledge that the next chase might be their last. Storm chasing is a gamble. And April 2022 had shown them the gamble in its purest form. Thrilling, devastating, unforgettable. When the cameras are packed away, when the engines go quiet, when the last supercell fades into the night, what remains is not just footage of tornadoes, but the memories of people and places left in their path. Storm chasing is often shown as pure thrill. The roaring funnels, the glowing lightning, the close calls that make your heart stop. And yes, those moments exist. The adrenaline is real. The rush is intoxicating. Standing a mile from a wedge tornado is an experience so surreal, it feels like touching the edge of another world. But behind every shot, there is a shadow. Greenfield's rubble, Claremore's shattered streets, families standing in front of what used to be their homes, holding nothing but disbelief in their eyes. These are the moments that don't go viral. The moments that remind every chaser why the chase matters. Not for glory, but for awareness, for research, for the hope that documenting destruction might one day help prevent it. Because storms don't care. They don't choose their victims. They don't spare the innocent. They simply exist, forces of physics, born from heat and wind, sculpted by chaos. To chase them is to dance on a knife's edge, to look horror in the eye and still press record. And yet, there's something profoundly human about this pursuit. To witness nature at its most violent is also to witness humanity at its most resilient. Neighbors pulling debris off each other's homes, volunteers driving hours to deliver food and supplies, survivors rebuilding from nothing. In the end, the story of these 10 days is not just about storms. It's about people. Those who chase them, those who survive them, and those who find the courage to start again after everything is taken. So when you see the footage, the twisting ropes, the colossal wedges, the walls of dust swallowing the sky, remember this: behind every tornado is a town. Behind every chase is a risk. And behind every story is a reminder that no matter how powerful the storm, the human spirit is stronger. The storms will always have the final say, but so will we. The tornadoes are gone now. The clouds have scattered, the winds have died, and the highways stretch on in silence. But the storms don't just vanish when the skies clear. They stay with us, not in the air, but in memory. For the chasers, the footage is saved, the intercepts logged, the radar loops archived. Yet the true storms are the ones they carry inside. The sound of a freight train roar closing in, the sight of a wedge swallowing the horizon, the uneasy silence that follows destruction. For the survivors, the storms are much heavier. Every gust of wind rattling a window becomes a reminder. Every thunderclap reopens the wound. They rebuild brick by brick, but some things, the fear, the loss, the flashbacks of that day, remain long after the cameras have left. And for all of us watching, these storms are warnings. Not just about weather, but about life itself. How quickly everything can change. How fragile the world we build really is. How nature, in one furious breath, can erase the work of generations. But there's another truth hidden in the wreckage: resilience. We've seen it in every town hit by these storms. Neighbors pulling strangers from rubble, families sheltering each other, communities rising to rebuild. The storms destroy, but they also reveal something indestructible: the will to endure. This is the paradox of storm chasing. You chase because you're drawn to the raw power, the spectacle, the awe. But you leave with something much more human: a deeper respect for those who live in the path of nature's fury, and an unshakable reminder that no one is ever truly in control. The storms will come again, they always do, but so will we. Armed with cameras, with data, with hope, and with the lessons of every town, every family, every storm we've carried with us. Because in the end, storm chasing is not about outrunning the tornado, it's about understanding it, documenting it, and never forgetting the people whose lives are changed in its shadow. The winds fade, the highways empty, but the storms, the real storms, stay with us forever. The plains fall silent, fields sway gently in the breeze, towns rebuild and life carries on. But everyone here knows the silence won't last. It never does. Storm season is a cycle, unpredictable, relentless, inevitable. The same skies that glow with golden sunsets will one day soon darken into towering walls of cloud. The same calm that cradles a quiet town will in an instant explode into chaos. For storm chasers, that truth is both a warning and a calling. Because when the next trough digs across the plains, when the next boundary ignites the skies, when the next supercell begins to spin, they will be there. Cameras rolling, hearts racing, engines chasing the horizon. And for the people who live in the storm's path, the cycle means something else: vigilance, resilience, courage. Every season brings risk, but every season also brings the chance to prepare, to survive, to rise again. The tornadoes of April and May have passed, but they are never truly gone. They live on in the footage, in the research, in the scars on the land, and in the stories of those who endured them. And somewhere out there, even now, the atmosphere is already writing the script for the next chapter. Because one thing is certain: the storms will return. And when they do, so will we.